Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ET Considers Everything Sports Podcast for Wednesday, July 20th, 2016. On this edition, I'll be taking a look at several issues, including Johnny Manziel. I'll be taking a look at MLB division leaders across Major League Baseball. I'll be taking a look at the Phoenix Suns and what they have decided to do after the NBA Summer League has concluded. And I'll be taking a look at soccer, golf, and several other sports. So let's get going with this podcast. First, we'll start off with the NFL. Johnny Manziel released a statement this past Sunday talking about his future in the NFL and what he hopes to do. He said in the statement that he is really considering his options right now. He said that he's not going to quit drinking right now, but he hopes to in the future. And he really wants to try to be like a future football player in the National Football League. But the sources closest to him are really saying that he's not really caring about his football right now. He's not really wanting to work out and not really wanting to do everything it takes to be a football player. And that's a shame because he was a Heisman Trophy winner there a few years ago, and he really needs to be focused on football and really can be considerate of everything that he has in football, no doubt about it. But he hasn't been able to shed the drinking shield, so his career in the NFL may be over. Moving on in NFL news, Tom Brady will be suspended for the first 4 games of the NFL season this year due to the Deflategate scandal that was created 2 years ago in the AFC Championship game. Roger Goodell will fight with the NFL Players Association, who will be appealing on Tom Brady's behalf to the Supreme Court about the 4-game suspension. Tom Brady has personally dropped his own appeal, but the NFL Players Association will fight for Tom Brady and will not drop their appeal of the 4-game suspension to the National Football League. Moving on, MLB news today. MLB division leaders are as follows. The NL East leaders are the Washington Nationals. The NL Central leaders are the Chicago Cubs. The NL West leaders are the San Francisco Giants. In the AL East leaders are the Baltimore Orioles. The AL Central leaders are the Cleveland Indians. And the AL West leaders are the Texas Rangers. Chicago and New York had a series yesterday. The New York Mets defeated the Chicago Cubs by a score of 3-1, bouncing back from a 5-1 defeat that they suffered on Monday night. And it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of the Major League Baseball season plays out. We're only 10 days away from the Major League Baseball trade deadline, and several of the teams will be jockeying for position to try to get some of the best players. One of these teams are the New York Yankees. They're not considered buyers or sellers yet because they are several games back in the AL East, but they will be trying to trade off one of their older players, which is Carlos Beltran. Sources close to that situation have said that he would like a trade to the Kansas City Royals, which that would be fitting because that's where he started his career. And they are the defending World Series champions, so that would be a very interesting move there. Other trade news includes Johnny Cueto staying with the San Francisco Giants, Jeff Samardzija staying with the Giants. We could have several other trades involving, like the Cincinnati Reds. They could be trading Joey Votto or a couple other of their players. And the Atlanta Braves could be involved in trades for Julio Teheran as well. So we'll have to just see how everything plays out over the next week and a half before the trade deadline on Sunday, July 31st. Got my days mixed up there. I apologize for that. NBA news this morning. The Phoenix Suns have agreed to play 2 regular season games in Mexico City this upcoming season. Those games will be taking place in January of 2017. They will be against the San Antonio Spurs and the Dallas Mavericks on January 4th and January 5th. Big time move there for the Phoenix Suns. This will be only the fourth and fifth time in NBA history that NBA regular season games will be played outside of the United States, excluding the London series, which takes place every year in February. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Phoenix Suns do this upcoming season. They have several great rookies coming in, including Tyler Ulis. So it's going to be fun to see how they adapt to the NBA changes this year. The NBA will have a totally different landscape this season with Kevin Durant to the Golden State Warriors, Dwayne Wade to the Chicago Bulls, Derrick Rose to the New York Knicks, Dwight Howard to the Atlanta Hawks, so on and so forth. There's been a lot of moves in free agency this year. It's going to be fun to see how the NBA plays out next year, no doubt about it. Moving on this morning, golf news. Henrik Stenson won the 145th Open Championship at Royal Troon this past Sunday, and he will also be competing in the Rio de Janeiro Olympics in the golf competition. He looks as one of the favorites going into that competition. There's the persons that will be representing the United States team are as follows: Ricky Fowler, Bubba Watson, Patrick Reed, and Matt Kuchar. Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson will not be attending this year's Rio de Janeiro Olympics due to Zika virus concerns, as have several other players have announced, including Adam Scott and Rory McIlroy. But this week on the PGA Tour, they are at the RBC Canadian Open at Glen Abbey, and several notable players are in that field, including Jason Day, Dustin Johnson, and Jim Furyk. So coverage of that will begin on Golf Channel tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m., with weekend coverage on CBS at 3 p.m. on Saturday and 2 p.m. on Sunday. Soccer news this morning. Manchester United will be playing Borussia Dortmund on Friday morning at 8 a.m. in China in a pre-season tournament friendly game. That match will be on ESPN2 at 8 a.m. Eastern, I believe. If it's not going to be on live television, you can follow it on Fox Sports, ESPN, NBC Sports, Bleacher Report, all the major streaming apps that have access to soccer. So it's going to be fun to see how that match plays out. Those two teams had a really good run last year. Borussia Dortmund finished second in the Bundesliga standings behind eventual winners Bayern Munich. They also made the German Cup final and lost to Bayern Munich in that final. They will be back in the Champions League this year by their top four finish in the Bundesliga standings. Manchester United, on the other hand, finished fifth in the Premier League standings. That means they will be in the Europa Cup competition for the UEFA Europa Cup. And they will also be in the FA Cup competition once again, which they won this past season, defeating Crystal Palace 2-1 in that final in extra time. So that's going to be a fun matchup on Friday morning. Look forward to keeping my eyes on that match because those are really two of my favorite teams in Europe, and I look forward to that match, no doubt about it. Moving on, tennis news as well. Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal have decided to pull out of the Rogers Cup tennis tournament, which takes place in Toronto, and Andy Murray has withdrawn from that tournament as well. That's usually a big-time tournament on the ATP Tour, and it's really surprising to see those three players deciding to pull out of that tournament. But I believe they are pulling out of that tournament to prepare for the Rio de Janeiro Olympics coming up in a couple weeks from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. So it's going to be fun to see who comes out on top in the tennis tournament. The last tennis tournament played in the Olympics, Andy Murray won for the men and Serena Williams won for the women. So it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top this time. This may be the last time we see Roger Federer in Olympic competition because he is 36 years old. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of the ET Considers Everything podcast for Wednesday, July 20th, 2016. If y'all don't mind, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and as always, I'll keep you posted on sports updates as I get them across my tablet. For now, this is E.T. Eric Tyler Mullins reporting from Town, Virginia. Hope you all have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Later.